Hello and welcome back. We are here with episode 2 of Console Wars, and this time we will be debating our two games because there's more of us here for the Sega Mega Drive, aka Genesis, depending on where you're from. I'm joined by Mr. Triangleface again. How are you?
Oh, yeah, all good. I actually had this console as well, so I can talk a bit more about it because I didn't have a SNES, but I had a Mega Drive.
Yeah,
it's definitely a Mega Drive house.
The main man himself, Nintenolly, as well.
Hello. How do?
So before we start, just want to, what's everyone's thoughts? Obviously, we'll start with you, Tim, as you were just saying about Mega Drive.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know what the Mega Drive meant to you.
So I was kind of a bit younger when it came out. As my brother was the one that pushed to get a Mega Drive. So I never had that. Do I want a Mega Drive or a SNES? Because I wasn't really in the conversation as what my brother wanted to get, and he decided he wanted to go for Mega Drive. And then when we got a Mega Drive, I then played it as well, and I just enjoyed it. So I never really had to make the choice. Did I want to go with Mega Drive or SNES? But I loved it. I think I played a lot more than he did. I bought a lot more games, so most of the Mega Drive games we owned were mine. And yeah, it was a brilliant console. I spent a lot of time on it. Had a really nice range of games, and I'd always try and get, a game for Christmas, game for my birthday, and then maybe one other game I'd save up for pocket money during the year. So I'd probably get about 3 games a year, potentially another one if I'm, very lucky. So I'd always try and get like the big games at the time. This was back when like gaming magazines were big as well. So I'd learn what was coming out from looking at magazines. I'd try and stay up to date with it, and I was always excited when I'd see like adverts for like the next Sonic game, or like when Mortal Kombat first came out and all that sort of stuff. So it was a great time. There was a lot more hype, I feel, around then. I think nowadays we're spoiled for choice. There's loads coming out all the time. And yet we're still going, there's not really a lot coming out, and actually there's tons compared to what it was back then. But yeah, really good era for gaming, and that's really when I got super into games as well. Like I always liked games as a young kid, playing on things like BBC Micro and Acorn and things like that. But then when we got the Mega Drive, that's when I was like, I really like games. Games are like really cool, and yeah, that's how when I kind of started being obsessed with games.
Right, what about you, Ollie? What got you into the Mega Drive?
See, I was a Nintendo household. I had a NES. That was my first computer console, and then moved up to Super Nintendo. So I didn't even really look at the Mega Drive, I guess, for a long time. And then I started school, started hanging out with people at school, and one of my best friends, still one of my best friends, was Mr. Sega. So he had a Mega Drive, and we would play Nintendo. We'd come to my house, we'd play Sega at his house. So I didn't really have my own Mega Drive until I started earning my own money. But as a kid, and I've told this story before, like years ago now, Video Solent was like the local video rental store in my area. So good. I've still got my membership card as well. I refuse to let go of it. And in there, they would you could rent out a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo. So every now and then my dad would take me down there. We'd rent a Mega Drive. We'd rent a couple of games. One of those games is going to be one of my picks tonight, so I'm not going to sort of spoil what it is, but that game really sort of means a lot to me, and I think it is actually superior to the Super Nintendo version as well, which is very unlike me.
So yeah, I'm similar. So Nintendo household, pretty much everything Nintendo from Game Boy, NES upwards. And like Tim was saying, I had you played other consoles, I had a Spectrum and all that, but I just kept going back to Nintendo. So when Sega came out, I originally did have the Master System, but I had the crappy old school beefcake one, which I've still got somewhere. And yeah, it just for me it was just inferior, that one. But then this was just something about this game that like we really did think, right, okay, this is this console, come out, and I didn't have it when it first came out. Like I said, it took me a bit longer to get myself one, but once I did, obviously I could then realize what everyone was going on about and what all the talk was about. But so yeah, we did have some great times and some great memories on this. So just to bring us a bit down memory lane, obviously they did bring out 2 versions of this console, but I'll just go in to get some details on this. So Sega Genesis in America, Sega Mega Drive in Europe, was released in October 29, It's 29th of October 1988 in Japan, which is crazy.
Wow.
America got it in August in 1989, and we had to wait until September 1990 to get ours. It sold about 30 million units, and one of the games that was a pack-in was a bestseller, which is a 15 million. So that was packed in with it. Obviously, I've got pictures of it here, so I'll just quickly bring them up. So this is when you say Mega Drive, this is what you think of. I've nicked it off Nintendo's picture, but that is the main. That picture is what you think of when you see that. That's the console.
Yep.
And then they started to get a bit crazy, didn't they? They brought out a CD-ROM add-on, which is crazy for its time. Do you know what I mean? Big, crazy for its time. And then also 32X, and do you know what I mean? AKA the Tower of Power. But yeah, there were some crazy things that came out with this console. So did any of you two have any of these add-ons?
So I had the Mega Drive 2. I never did get a Sega CD, but I really, really wanted a 32X. I can remember seeing that in the magazines and thinking it looked awesome. I was like, oh, it's not, you know. And to be fair, I think the concept is good. You can basically upgrade your existing console without having to pay to buy a whole new generation console. But when I finally got my hands on some 32X games, I was like, oh, this is terrible. I was so disappointed. It's like, I'm kind of glad I didn't get one now, because at the time I was like, oh, I really want one. I was
so
really
expensive, weren't they?
Yeah, I was really disappointed that I couldn't get one. I don't think I even ever saw it in the shops. I don't think I ever remember seeing a 32X on the shelf. I can remember hearing about it, seeing it in magazines, and seeing that it's flopped. I was like, why on earth is this thing flopping? It looks amazing. And I played it. It's like, oh, that's why. The games are really bad. So yeah, I didn't actually have the add-ons, but I was really intrigued. The one thing I did have though was the 6-button controllers.
Yeah,
and that was a must-have for things like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, because you had the, you know, with Street Fighter with the 3 buttons, it was like weak, medium, hard punch, and you had to press start to flip between punches and kicks. Whereas like the 6 button, you didn't have to press start to flip between, so it was much easier to play. So we had a couple of 6-button control pads as well, which I think was a must-have.
Cool. What about you, Ollie?
So I got the Mega Drive 2 as well when I could have my own one. I do have a normal original Mega Drive as well, because the original Mega Drive, I believe, has a slightly better sound card.
Yeah,
I think there's some discrepancies in the sound. I, as a Nintendo kid growing up, I remember seeing the 32X in magazines and thinking, I couldn't quite figure it out, you know. And as an adult, you sort of think it's on life support, you know. It needed its own plug. And the Sega Saturn wasn't that far away from launch as well, so
yeah,
it was a weird add-on. I was jealous of the Mega CD. I did think that was really cool, being able to have like full motion video games and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, man, Nintendo won't have something like that. And then there was all the talk of like the Nintendo Sony partnership, and then that just turned into the PlayStation. So yeah. But dead cool. The Mega Drive definitely had a few additional peripherals that were pretty cool.
So how did you find like, I didn't, well, just to quickly talk about what I had. I didn't actually have either as well. I really wanted both, but saw the price of it and it was crazy. But how would you like their ad campaign? So the whole ad of like going up against a fat plumber, which, you know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, we're cool, we're the cool kids. Like, a lot of they attacked Nintendo head on, especially in North America. I didn't really feel that over here. I felt like the Nintendo Sonic Sega divide, but we didn't really get the same adverts or commercials, they call them over there. No, we didn't really get them here, did we?
No, I think in the UK it was just sort of more playground rivalry. And it was always friendly. There was never any sort of like genuine anger about anything, because ultimately, you know, we all knew that Sonic was a great game and secretly wanted it on Nintendo. And I think a lot of Sega fans knew Mario World was unbelievable. Mario Kart was fantastic, and they would really want that as well. But yeah, we didn't get that ad campaign that America got, where it was Sega does what Nintendo don't. Like we didn't get any of that over here. But maybe that's just the you know, sort of like the British way. You know, it's not such a rivalry thing, whereas they're very, you know, team orientated, aren't they? So
like I said, in my house, my brother kind of pushed for us to get the Mega Drive, and I just went along with it. So I never was making that decision. So I don't think I was influenced at all by the advertising. But it's like I said, when you had friends at school, it's like, oh, I've got a Mega Drive. That's cool. I've got a Nintendo. That's cool. Let's go around my house and play the Mega Drive. Let's go around your house and play the Nintendo. So it was always good to have a mate who had the other console. And that kind of continued for a few generations as well. Like I had a PS1, one of my friends had an N64, and we would like hang out at each other's houses. So we got to play each other's consoles. So we all just get along and play games. But I think there's always that little bit. That one, I think I mentioned this on the last one actually. There's one memory I do have. There's a friend of mine at school. There's other kids at school. It's like, oh, I mentioned I had a Mega Drive because I've got a Master System. The Master System is better than the Mega Drive. That's the newer version. And I was like, oh, cool, because I'd never heard of it. It's like, oh, amazing. Let's go around your house, play the Master System. And as soon as I saw the cases for the games, I was like, this isn't like the superior system to the Mega Drive, is it? He's had me on, looked at the cartridges, and we played a couple of games. It's like, good for you. This is the better console.
But hang on. That's another thing. As you just mentioned, Tim, the cases.
Yeah.
How much better was it? These solid plastic opening cases that Nintendo didn't have. Even the N64, like the boxes get squashed to hell, and you think like, how much better are these solid hard plastic cases?
Mhm.
Like you said, I didn't even think about that until you've just mentioned it, but I thought I'd just bring it up.
Yeah. No worries.
So what we'll do is we'll start playing some games. So format's a bit different, as there's 3 of us. We're all going to pick 2 games each, and then what will happen is I will then put a poll out, and if I go to the first show's poll, I've just pipped it with 57% of the votes to Triangleface's 43, so it's very close. So what we'll do is we'll have another poll at the end of this show. So we're both going to pick 2 games, and we will go over to my first game after this. Hello, so we are back. This goes to my first choice. See, I've got my headphone a bit weird so you can hear the music. And that is Sonic 2. I'll just bring up the box art of it here. So I've got legendary box art.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so good, isn't it? I don't know what you think about it, Tim.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's I didn't actually have this when it first came out. I went back and got it later. But it's definitely up there as one of the great Sonic games.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. What about you, Ollie?
Yeah, it was during that campaign when that came out. That's when I was really jealous of Sonic. I thought it was just very, very cool. And I really liked the Sonic 2 movie posters and artwork. Was very reminiscent of that artwork. Very cool.
The music's just phenomenal. Like, I don't know if you can get it because
all of them had good music. I think definitely the same with the Sonic music was excellent.
And that is one thing it's definitely got over the Nintendo is like the soundboard that's on these. I'm trying not to smash through these levels because normally you do, don't you? But I'll just quickly, while I'm doing that, I'll just quickly look. I've got on my notes. It says here that it's sold. It was released in November 1992, and it sold over 6 million units. It was the second best. It was the second best game on the Sega Mega Drive, which is mad.
I mean, it's a classic. It was also the time when I really thought Sonic went fast. Like he went fast in the first game, but this one it was like, wow, this is fast. Especially
because then you go down and do the old speed up, can't you?
Yeah.
It was in Chemical Plant Zone. That was when it would just go banzai.
Yeah.
And you could just go around all the
So, and that's a good level as well, Chemical Plant Zone. And the music on that level as well was awesome. That's a really cool.
Oh, it's on another level. I first remember seeing this game though, and I bought a Sega magazine, which was a weird thing to do for me because I was always buying Total magazine, which was a Nintendo one. And I bought it because it came with a VHS tape, and on it had just sort of a few minutes play of loads of games, and this was one of them. So it was really pumping Sonic 2 because it was due to come out. So this was my first visions of Sonic 2 were watching this VHS tape. I wish I still had it, to be fair. I think it would be a great thing to watch now.
I remember hearing that the people that were working on Sonic 2 or no, sorry, Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. They said they wanted to appeal to an American audience, so they had some people go to America and just like report back on what do Americans like. And apparently, they came back saying they really like theme parks and roller coasters, and that's why they wanted to have something that was really fast. Would do all these loops and tracks and spin around, and that was like where the level design really sort of started. Was then trying to sort of emulate roller coasters and stuff.
I can see why. I can see how that would be the thing as well.
I don't know if that's true, mind. I read it somewhere. Might be nonsense, but it sounded interesting enough to be true.
But no, it's I just it brings back so many memories playing this, and it was like our rival to Nintendo, wasn't it?
It was this and Mario World were really tough choices, and it just showed that everybody won.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the thing is, though, if you look at it now, that the games are quite different. If you play Mario and then you play Sonic, like they seem similar, but actually they're very different to play.
Yeah, very different.
Completely different. Like sometimes you go so fast on this game that it's hard to keep up with what's actually going on.
I liked the introduction of Miles in this one as well. It wasn't until I got a lot older and you're like, oh, miles per hour. Oh.
I know he's off. So I think I'll leave it there. So
okay.
that is my first choice. That is Sonic 2 for the Mega Drive. So right, we'll be right back with Triangleface's first choice. So see you in a minute.
Okay, so my first pick. Now, this was really tough, actually, because I spent a lot of time thinking about my pick because I do love the Mega Drive, and there's so many good games. I'm like, oh, I really want to talk about this game, and this game, and this game. But I decided to pick Streets of Rage 2. And the reason I've gone for it is I don't think it's not just a good Mega Drive game, but I think it's probably the best beat-em-up game out there. I think, I really like beat-em-up games. And at the time, I really liked things like Golden Axe and some of the arcade stuff like Knights of the Round, but Streets of Rage 2 I think is actually up there as one of the best, or it's my personal favourite of that genre. So I thought it was a good pick. So a few bits about Streets of Rage 2. So upon release in North America, it was one of the top 5 best-selling Genesis games in December 1992. And among the top 5 best-selling Genesis games for several months through to March 1993. And in Japan, it's top-selling Mega Drive game in January 1993 and 11th on all formats charts in its debut week. And then in Europe, it was the 3rd best-selling video game between 1992 and early 1993, below Super Mario Kart and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which are 2 picks you've had. Wow. So yeah, it is up there as a very good selling game. Then if you've got some box art there we go. Yeah. Box art.
Phenomenal.
So the continuation of the first one. I love the first one. I'm not a big fan of the third, and some people might slam me for that, but the third one doesn't do it for me. It's the second one, I think, is when it peaks. And it's absolutely brilliant game.
So yeah, Ollie, what was your memories on it?
Oh my god! I think this is not only just one of the greatest beat 'em up games. I think this could be one of the best games ever made. There's so much nostalgia for this. So my friend who had the Mega Drive, he had all the Streets of Rage games, and Streets of Rage 2 was one that we would play a lot. Being able to do couch co-op and everything. Just so good.
Let's just do.
Yeah, I think you shared us. Hear us talking to him.
I think so. So I need to go back and change the audio. Yeah. I just realised I can't pop my headphones out like you did. So we'll see how we get on, eh? Let's just do that. I won't share the audio, and we'll see how we get on. Let me just unhide my bit there.
Yeah, so I remember this game. This was one of the reasons I wanted a Mega Drive as well. Solid game, solid fighting, more than one player as well. So obviously there's always loads in my household growing up. I'm one of 5, so we could all, something that we could all play. A couple of us played life each, but yeah, absolutely, yeah. I know it's 2-player, like I said there. Yeah, who's your go-to?
So I always liked Axel because he's quite balanced. I found Max is quite strong, but he's really slow. And then like Skate was not as tough and things like that. So I always went with Axel. Also, Axel's from the first game as well. So I don't know if
Oh,
guys you're
really?
getting any audio through, but the music really slaps.
The music for this is one of the best music soundtracks for a video game. The intro music for Streets of Rage will just never stop putting goosebumps on my arms. I forget the names of the original composers, but they did an appearance at some Gamescom in Japan, I think. And yeah, they did a DJ set where they just DJ'd music from Streets of Rage.
Nice.
Absolutely unbelievable. So cool.
Amazing. I think I was normally Axel, but he always wanted to be like Skate because he was cool, wasn't he, with his little skates, and he was quick. And do you know what I mean? He was just like a kid, basically, getting beaten up by grown men.
Which is terrible when you think about it now, really, isn't it?
But I quite like the moves and stuff you can do in this. Like you can do like the throws, and obviously you get weapons and stuff as well. You get like the specials, but it uses up some of your life, so it's like a bit of a trade-off. If you're getting, cornered, you can do some of the specials. You can do that one as well. That was a little move you could do.
Yeah, a little uppercut.
Of course, it's a weapon.
I'm sure he says bare knuckle, doesn't he, when he does that move?
I think is it burning knuckle? I think it says.
No,
you can't even say that. Then we try that again. See if we can make it what we're saying. Burning upper.
Because I always thought he was saying bare knuckle, which is what it was called in Japan, wasn't it? The game.
To be honest, I thought he was saying get a jumper. It's probably not that, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Did you get away with stabbing someone nowadays, though? Poking them with a knife.
This was back when
the game used to be in arcades and stuff, wasn't it? So yeah, played it as a little kid, just like pick up my stabby knife. This
was rife. This is when all the video games are making children violent. Arguments were coming around, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, this is where you can start doing some real damage.
The lead pipe.
Made me drop it. Pick up another one.
I always found it really funny as well in these sorts of games. There's always like an apple or a chicken, and they're just in a trash can waiting for you to eat them.
You eat, yeah.
Just eating food off the floor. I was always told not to do that, but yeah, floor chicken.
Nice. So yeah, solid game. This is
great.
A solid game.
It's so good.
Like I said, I was more for number 2 over than 3.
The only thing I liked in 1 that they didn't have in number 2, and maybe it was a trade-off for the doing like a special move, was being able to call backup, and having that little sequence where the police cars speed up, they'd fire rocket launchers or something. But special moves in this, that was like a neat little trade-off.
Yeah, so I want you to show us it, Triangleface, anyway. A special at some point.
Yeah, I was just about to use it actually because there's a few people on me. Ooh.
Oh. But then once you've beaten this boss, we'll.
It does do a lot of damage as well. That special.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's a sacrifice of some of your own life. Now I'm 1-on-1. I should be all right. He's dropping a lot of knives everywhere, though, isn't he?
You can lob the knives as well, can't you?
That's mad.
Okay, that's it.
So,
right, is that me done?
Yeah, that's you done. So this is Triangleface's first choice. And that is Streets of Rage 2. Boom.
So my first pick, because Tim took Streets of Rage 2, is going to be another game that I put a lot of time into, and that is Disney's Aladdin. So there were a multitude of different Aladdin games, so I'm going to bring up some information about them. This was released in October 1993, October 19th, 1993, and was one of several games because Aladdin was massive when it came out. So there was just games on every single system going. The one on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis was developed by Virgin Games, and I believe the one on the Super Nintendo was developed by Capcom. So it was two different developers, and we did get two very different games. It is one of the best-selling Mega Drive Genesis video games with 4 million copies sold, which is pretty good. And it had some other ports to the NES, the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Amiga, and DOS. So the Game Boy version is very similar to the Mega Drive version, which is bizarre because the Super Nintendo one is completely different.
That's mad.
Very,
That's
very
madness. You
strange.
think about that now, giving out the same to like two different companies to work on for two different consoles.
Yeah,
That's
and
madness.
I still not understood why. And again, this version is the superior version over the Super Nintendo one. The Super Nintendo one's fine, but this is the best one. In the Super Nintendo one, Aladdin's not allowed to use a sword. As you'll see when we start this in a minute, Aladdin on the Mega Drive, he does use a sword. And again, the soundtrack on this version is absolutely killer. I think it's possibly one of the best looking Mega Drive games because it looks like the film. That box art, now that brings back memories.
There's the box art for you. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, what's your memories on Aladdin?
Yeah, I did love this one. I did have Aladdin. I think Disney in the 90s brought out some brilliant stuff, like the films and the games. Like Disney games on the Mega Drive are all very good. I think this is up there with the Lion King game as well, which is another one of my favorites on the system. Again, I was aware of the level skip cheat, so I was able to see some of the other levels, but I did eventually complete it honestly. Yeah, one of those games where you just want to pass it. It's just a joy. It's a joy to play this game. It is such a fun game.
The animation on it is just even now looking at it, it's so smooth.
It's just the music for me. I was saying I remember this, but as a kid, I didn't realize it was anything different from this to the Super Nintendo one. Like I didn't realize it was different companies. Should have jumped then. Didn't realize it was completely different. But obviously, once I was older, I realized that was completely different games.
Yeah.
Oh, I just fell off again.
I used to really like the bonus levels where you play as a poo as well.
Yep.
And you have to try and dodge all the pots falling and stuff to eventually get an extra life.
Oh, Blunners.
I'm gonna go. He's skidding. He's not skidding on the sand here, and he's skidding when I get to the end there. So I'm gonna do it slowly now.
Do one successive run and jump.
Here we go.
One successive run and jump. There we go.
There you go.
Shazam!
Mate.
There's some very good levels in this as well. Like I really liked the level in the dungeon, and then obviously got the Cave of Wonders, and there's the magic carpet ride.
The magic carpet one is just insane, absolutely insane.
It's just all the different channels. You can hear the music, it's phenomenal.
It's such a good game, and should we do the level select?
Do the level select.
Okay, so pause the game. Pause the game, and then you do A, BB, AA, BB, A. And just like that, you have completed the level. And I love that animation. His face is just...
Congratulations.
Well, I needed to after I couldn't make that jump. So that is...
bonus?
We'll just get my bonus, lose.
Oh,
so
you lost it.
That is Nintenolly's first choice. So we'll be right back with my second choice. Listen to that music. It's phenomenal. Hello. So this brings me to my second choice, and that is Golden Axe 2. It just speaks for itself. I'll just give you some details on it quick. Came out in Japan 27th of December 1991, and it was pretty quickly out in North America and here 26th of January 1992. So not much of a wait there, but it was just a phenomenal game. I just remember it this was one of the ones I thought, you know what, I have to get myself a Mega Drive just to play this. I don't know, what were your guys' thoughts on this?
I really enjoyed the first Golden Axe a lot, and when the second one came out, and it just looks better, it plays a little bit better. I think the characters have just they just look and run it's all a bit more smoother, if that makes sense. And the music again, Mega Drive's got some killer soundtracks.
Killer tracks,
yeah. I had Mega Games 2, which had Golden Axe 1, Streets of Rage 1, and then Revenge of the Shinobi. So I always really liked both Streets of Rage and Golden Axe. So I play a lot of them sort of together. I think I never actually had Golden Axe 2, but I rented it from Blockbuster. I think he's rented it a couple of times, I think. But yeah, brilliant game.
It's funny how you get them to get your magic up, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little thieves.
I like the little move as well that you get with this guy when he sort of, I don't know if he does it in the second one, but he does a little donk on the head with the
Yeah, I just done it.
bottom of his sword.
Hang on. You
Chuck
can
him.
pick them up and throw them. But yeah, I didn't realise you could run properly, like double tapping. There you go, you just done it then.
That was it. I used to like doing the run and then jump and then hit, and you'd like bring his sword down. Oh yeah, this was one thing I think Golden Axe had over Streets of Rage was being able to ride the creatures, like get dragons and stuff.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And of course, you have like the magic as well.
Do you know, this is something I just would have thought they would have made a movie about in the 90s. I don't know why there was never a
100%.
Golden Axe
Oh,
movie.
should have done. And Streets of Rage and Golden Axe movies would have gone down a treat, I think.
I think you could do Streets of Rage now, and you know, you could make it intentionally cheesy, and people would get it.
Like really over the top. Like I can imagine like a fan made, YouTube film of Streets of Rage could be done well. But like how there was like that fan made Street Fighter movie, which actually was really good.
Yes, I'd be interested to see. I mean, it would basically almost be Game of Thrones, I guess, wouldn't it? Really, if they were going to do it, it'd be like Game of Thrones meets Conan. If they were going to do a Golden Axe.
You think it's not much different from Streets of Rage, just completely different setting.
Yeah.
Like you think, side scroll and beat 'em up.
But that's the thing. Like loads of side-scrolling beat-em-ups are very similar. It's hard to like get one that stands out. They've got to have some sort of hook. And for me, like Streets of Rage 2 was the top one for me. There's quite a few good ones. Like there's the X-Men ones as well. Some really good X-Men beat-em-ups and Turtles.
I've just realised I've picked 2 2s. I've picked Sonic 2. There we go.
2 2s. Oh,
yeah,
here we
so
go.
I picked Sonic 2.
Do the little bit here where they try and thief you.
Yeah, they tried to nick him with magic. Give me my magic back.
So I used to really like the Thieves in 1 as well. They used to drop the little jars.
Thief in the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me my money.
Beautiful.
So that is my pick. That is
strong choice.
Well, yeah, hopefully it gives me another win. So right, we'll go into yours next, Triangleface.
All right.
So right after this, we'll be back with Triangleface's pick.
Okay, so pick number 2 for me is going to be Sonic and Knuckles. I think the best way of playing this game is Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, so that's what I'm going to be playing in a minute. But the release Sonic and Knuckles, it came out in 1994 on the 18th of October, and it was released around the same time that Nintendo was doing Donkey Kong Country. And it looks like the advertising campaign at the time said that they were having like a battle of both being advertised of revolutionary technology. So for Sonic and Knuckles, you had the lock-on technology that you were doing the expansion cart, and then for Donkey Kong it was the 3D rendered graphics. So Sonic and Knuckles was, this is interesting as well. So Sonic and Knuckles was backed by a $45 million marketing campaign.
Wow.
At the time, video games typically had a marketing budget of $5 million, and Blockbuster Video and MTV sponsored like a tournament, getting kids to play like Sonic and Knuckles to win like a $25,000 prize, and all that and being showcased on MTV. Sonic and Knuckles was released as part of numerous compilations, Sega games, including Sonic Jam. They bring out on lots of different systems and things like that. So it's been released quite a few times. This was a real big one for me. Absolutely love this game.
Box art's legendary, by the way. They think that logo
so good. This was the only
integrated, wasn't it?
The only letdown for this was it was a cardboard box, and it's not aged well. Like all the other Nintendo stuff, it hasn't aged well.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? So no, personally on this, I really remember it being phenomenal, being like a great game. What were your thoughts on it, Ollie?
I again was insanely jealous of this one because you could put the games in the top. You could even put Sonic 2 in the top and play as Knuckles in Sonic 2. And I just remember thinking, how have they done this? How is this happening? And it was just such a revolutionary thing for gaming in general. And being able to play through Sonic 3 and then Sonic and Knuckles as one continuous game was just
that's the best way to play it as well. I think just being able to go from Sonic 3 into Sonic and Knuckles. And I'm really surprised you didn't get any other games with that sort of lock-on cartridge. That's such a cool thing to have, and no other games
Exactly.
did it.
What a great idea, though, wasn't it? What a great idea to have an expansion pack built into a game. That's phenomenal, isn't it?
Would this be classed as the first game expansion? Do you know we get
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you get
yeah. You didn't have to. Yeah,
you get your
DLC kind of
DLC?
thing.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if is this the first sort of idea around DLC?
Let's see if I can do the bonus level as well. I used to love
Oh,
these. Did you know
he's
this is the other thing?
great.
You could do the bonus level by putting in any other Mega Drive game, and it would say no way. And if you pressed all 3 buttons, it would then open up a mini game of the bonus stage.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And yeah,
I
you
didn't
can just
know
play
that.
this, but it would be randomly generated depending on what cartridge you put in.
Oh,
That's
wow.
insane. I'll tell you who is really good at this, and that is Tess, Logically
Tess. I knew you were
Blonde.
going to say Tess. Yeah,
Man, she's a
I've been watching her streams
machine.
on it. Yeah, but yeah,
Absolute machine.
it's a great pick, Triangleface. No, number 3 was phenomenal. The fact that
I
you
don't know
could
if I'm going
just
to be able to actually beat the bonus stage, but we'll see. It gets quite fast after a while.
It does. I always remember my Mega Drive D-pad was a little bit sticky. So
sticky.
it's sticky. That sounds so wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But it just couldn't push left and right quick enough. And it was absolutely the controller. It was annoying. Look at that.
Chaos Emerald.
Skills.
Gosh. Easy emerald there. So yeah, so Tim, what's the premise of these Chaos Emeralds then? So what was the point?
So remember when you always get all the Chaos Emeralds, you can then play Supersonic. In Sonic 3 and Knuckles, though, you would have to get all the Chaos Emeralds, then all the Hyper Emeralds, and then you could play as Hypersonic, and you would then also get Hyper Tails and Hyper Knuckles. So you could get super versions of all the characters in the combination version. See if I can grab this. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there's a lot more to them. I just used to smash through the levels when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? Just speed run, like la 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 la, like, do you know what I mean? Not paying attention really.
This was another fast one.
Yeah.
And graphically, this was possibly the first time Sonic looked different.
Yeah, I quite like the look of this one as well. It does. It does look good.
It's so good.
But no, is it? Do you know what I mean? And it still holds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It still holds up. It still looks and plays well. Do you know what I mean? It's not something.
I've got time for a cheeky bonus stage, Blunners. Or shall I go ahead?
Yeah. If you got
let's go in. Let's see. This is one of the bonus stages you would get, and you have to like fling yourself up. There's a good way of getting extra power ups and stuff.
Yeah, I never was good. Like, it's like Sonic Pinball, isn't it?
But there's a thing following you at the bottom, and if you don't get out in time, it catches you.
And what do you get from these ones? The Hyper Emeralds?
You get the coins and stuff, the power ups, yeah. But the problem was there's a thing chasing you. There's normally like a few extra lives if you get near the end. Oh, missed the coins. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, I didn't really. I just used to hammer it. I never paid attention like I should have, really, to be honest.
I mean, you can definitely tell Tim has played this level.
I've played this a few times, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like this game. Oh, and there's a 1-up. Can I get it?
Oh,
I missed it.
Oh.
Yeah, there'd always be a 1-up near the end, but missed that one. But I got myself a power up. I think I might lose it in a minute, though.
Do a little Hadouken as you flame across the
flame power.
Right. In the interest of time, I won't go for that bonus stage because I've already done one. But I'd normally go for that one. So we want to get to the end of the level eventually, don't we?
Yeah, we need to get to this end and get to Ollie's final pick.
Let's see. I won't bother going back for all the extra coins and bits, but this is near the last bit.
So you fully completed this one then, Tim?
Oh yeah, 100% did it with like Sonic and Tails together. Tails on his own, Sonic on his own, and Knuckles getting all the Chaos Emeralds.
Oh wow!
Multiple times because I just like getting everything done. There you go. I'll let that land.
So this is why this is Tim's pick.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles together.
So that is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Was that together?
Yeah.
That is Tim's second and final pick. So we'll be right back with Ollie's pick after this.
Right. So my final pick is Batman Returns. again, there are multiple versions of this. The Super Nintendo one is a side-scrolling Streets of Rage style beat 'em up. But there's something about this version of Batman Returns that I actually like more. I don't think it's technically the superior game, but for me it is. Musically, this game has an absolutely great soundtrack. It's got really good sound effects, and there's just something about the Batman suit in this and the way that it moves and the way that he fights. It sort of feels a bit more like the Batman in the movies. There's no long sequences in any of the Batman movies, really, the original ones, where he just runs around solidly fighting constantly. There's always a little bit of, traversing a level or doing something else. So this one felt more true to the movie for me. And I remember there being so much hype around the movie Batman Returns, so it was inevitable that there was going to be video games about it. But
so when was it released, Ollie?
Oh yes, I do have some information for you. So,
can you play as any of the other characters as well? Because there's the box art there.
The box art is phenomenal. Again, it's it's absolutely killer.
The best Batman as well.
You can't play as any other characters. You can only play as Batman. Although obviously you fight Catwoman and the Penguin throughout the game. This game came out. When did it come out? Do you know what? It doesn't seem to say, which is never a good thing. It says released between 92 and 93, which is an absolute play on. Oh, here we go. Genesis version was released on December 1992, and there was a Sega CD version as well. But yeah, it's not got a lot of more information around it, which normally means it's not sold as well as others, but it's just that music.
It's phenomenal. Coming from it's like a proper chip tune coming from my ears. Isn't it?
Yep.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually play this one, but I do like the look of it. I think graphically it looks superior to a lot of the other Batman games from this era that I've seen.
As I said, I'd never played it either.
It's just got something about it. It's not particularly easy either, but there is something about it that is just really, really good. Maybe it feels just more like an adult game. I don't know. But it can be difficult, and the platforming is it's not obvious what you can latch onto, and so to get up further you have to use your little grappling belt.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how do you.
And then I think you just push up once you've grappled.
Up and C it would be, but yeah, one's punch.
Yeah, you definitely need to get higher.
Hover.
So can you grapple onto those bits there? Or you have to go back this way.
No, you can grapple onto a couple, and I think you just push up.
Hang on. No,
or just let go of everything, and then do you not just go up?
No, it's not. Hang on.
There's a couple of little bits there.
Up and grapple.
Push another button. He will definitely do it somehow. This is the only thing with some of these Batman games is they get a bit clunky with the controls, but as soon as you've got them figured, it works fine.
Especially if you're going through games, going through games like emulators and stuff, you don't have the manual. You're not necessarily going to know the controls. And there's a few good games that I've perhaps overlooked because I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do because it wasn't always obvious. But like I say, once you know what you're doing, it's really opens up the game properly there.
Yeah, I think in this one as well, a lot of the enemies you get things like gargoyles, like this Herbert here, which obviously there isn't in the movie, but you do fight a lot of. Just floated to my death. Just straight off the edge. You do get a lot of like penguins and a lot of fighting the clowns, which are obviously a huge part of the movie. So it really did feel like the developers for this one took note of the movie, took note of the setting, took note of the the sort of the themes and the the sort of just the Batman-ness about it.
I think as well, it's like around that time when people would make games based on movies. It would normally have to come out around the same time as the movie's released. Often the developers haven't seen the movie, but at least with something like Batman, you know what Batman is. You've seen Batman 1. You've got, all the other Batman media that's available. You know what Batman looks like. You know what you want the enemies to look like and stuff.
Yep.
And they can make a decent game.
You are imminently about to fight Catwoman.
I'll get my ass handed to me, I bet. Yeah.
Here we go. It's the.
Let's get rid of this jester who's annoying me.
I think it's just up. It's just up here. I think. Some of these levels as well. The game
This
gets
is the
harder.
first level. Bearing in mind,
Yeah.
Sonic, you just walk to the end like la 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 la.
How many lives do you get as well? Is it one which is like a bit unforgiving? You have to get really good at it to get through.
I think it's about 3 lives, but you do get quite a few continues. But it will just take you back to the beginning of that area.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we have to learn the level, and then you go back and play again. Oh, there's Catwoman. You have to learn the levels, and then when you go back and have another go, you get a little bit further each time, and that kind of extends the life of the game.
Trying to throw a batarang at her.
Oh,
there you go.
Out.
She kicked my ass. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah, there we go.
Nintendo's second choice. So right, we've all picked, and we'll be right back in a second. So there you have it. We've all picked 2 titles each. So this just gives us a little chance just to give us some honourable mentions of titles that couldn't make our list. So I'll start with you, Ollie. What's some titles that you wish you could have added on?
So I've picked 3, and I've got the boxes here as well. I'm having a big sort out of my room at the moment, so these were to hand, which is handy. So 2 Disney games, funnily enough. The first honorable mention for me is The Lion King. Really good platformer. Again, really good music. Emulated the movie really well. The sequence where you're being chased down by the wildebeest is great. This is another must-have.
And the fact that you go from being young Simba to adult Simba in the same game. It's like the later part of the game, you then have the slashing your claw move and things like that.
Yep. Second honorable mention, another Disney one, is Mickey's Castle of Illusion. This is up there. This is a great game.
That was nearly one of my picks. That one.
It's so good. It's so good. I really can't recommend this enough. If you have a Mega Drive, it's not a massively expensive game. Mickey's Castle of Illusion.
You think? Hang on, just before you go on to the next one. You think, Aladdin, Lion King, and Mickey. What do you mean? That's like Disney bringing out some absolute bangers of games. What's happened?
They were, and some of the ones on the various consoles as well. So some of the ones on Super Nintendo were just as good.
Yeah.
And then my final honorable mention, and I'm sorry if this was one of your guys' ones as well, Altered Beast. It's
very good.
It's so cool. It's maybe I'm just sort of looking at the back. It's maybe not aged as well as something like Streets of Rage or Golden Axe, but it's still got that absolute charm. And I don't think there's ever been a game quite like Altered Beast. It's just out there.
What about you then, Tim? What's your honourable mention?
So a few honourable mentions. I really like my beat 'em up games. So I think the Mega Drive had some really good fighters like Street Fighter 2 and like Mortal Kombat 3 was a big one for me. I played that a lot. But one that's perhaps lesser known was Eternal Champions. Really liked that one. That's really good. Look it up because that's a fun game. So that was like different fighters from different periods of history that all died too early. And they all get kind of pulled into this fighting tournament, and the winner gets to go back and live their life as if they had been killed off too early. So there's a really good cast of characters. It's got kind of like fatality style moves in it as well. And one thing that I thought was really cool was at the beginning when you had the Sega logo, one of the characters would jump in and destroy the Sega logo with one of their special moves. And every time you turn the game on, it'd be random which character would just jump down and like smash the Sega logo or something, or shoot a laser at it and blow it up. That was really fun. And then platformers, I think Jurassic Park, the first one on the Mega Drive, that's I think the best version of Jurassic Park, that first game where you can play as Grant or the Raptor. That was really cool. And there's one for me that, again, lesser known game. I have played it on this channel before, if you want to look at the video. The game called Alicia Dragoon, which I think maybe not many people have heard of, but that's a really fun platforming game. where you get like different sidekicks that you can select, and different animals come with you. Like you've got an animal companion that has different moves, and you sort of shoot lightning out your hands, and it's very, very hard. So you have to kind of like play it a lot to learn the levels and know where to hide and stuff like that. But that is a very fun game as well. Yeah, so those would probably be my honourable mentions.
Cool. Yeah, then I'll come to mine. Yeah, Alter Beast was on there. Echo the Dolphin. Like me and Tim were saying about this earlier. He goes, you either liked Echo the Dolphin or you liked Alter Beast, but I quite like both. I just remember as a kid not really knowing what I was doing, flying around everywhere. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game as well. Was it the Hyper Stone Heist?
Hyper Stone Heist, yeah.
Yeah, that was another absolute banger. I loved that game. And I'm trying to think, other than ones that we haven't said, I think that's about it for me. Yeah, so with that being mentioned, I'll just go through, right. If you are a Level Up member, you'll be getting this show earlier than anyone else. You'll be getting this literally as soon as I've edited it, put it online, you'll be watching it straight away. So that's a thank you from us. You'll get the content first. And what I'll do is I'll put up a post where people can then vote for either myself, Triangleface or Ollie, and then we'll see who wins the next one. So, anything from anyone else on the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis?
I don't think so, but we might need to revisit this and have another bash. There's some good games.
I was just saying earlier when I was trying to do my picks, I really struggled because there's so many good games. But I was like, for me, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the pinnacle platform game of that era, and Streets of Rage 2 was the pinnacle beat-em-up game of that era. But there's so many good games in that system. And I think another honourable mention for me would be Beyond Oasis. If you've ever played that, that was a really good RPG that I think rivaled Zelda, but it's lesser known because I think Zelda took a lot of the attention. But that's a cracking game as well. So I'd love to go. I've revisited that a few times, so I'd love to revisit that again and play.
Cool. So then, right, you'll hear it here first. We will when we are next here, we will have the Super Nintendo versus the Sega Mega Drive. Tim will be representing the Mega Drive. Ollie will be representing the Super Nintendo, and we will pit these 3 games against each other as we've now done both consoles. So, without further ado, I'm Ollie. If you're new here, we've got Triangleface and Nintendo Ollie underneath. Give us a thumbs up. Get them comments in because we like to read them and go through. Like you, do you know what I mean? A lot of people say, "Well, I'd have picked this, I'd have picked that," which is games. That's what we've done. The honourable mentions. So get your comments in. I really want to know what you thought of it, and thank you for everyone who's tuned in. So we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.